You are listening to the 90 Days Later podcast with Anna Charles, episode 161. Welcome to the 90 Days Later podcast, where I show you how life with less alcohol is more fun than you think. I work with high achievers who struggle to drink a glass of wine without it turning into 2 bottles. I'm the one they call when they want to take it or leave it. So if you want to change your relationship with alcohol that doesn't involve counting days sober, you're in the right place. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the podcast on the very last day of 2024. Happy New Year for tomorrow. Today's episode is going to be shorter than usual. I just have a couple of really important messages, themes for you to think about on the topic of finding joy for tonight, if you're going out partying, and in fact for 2025 and indeed the rest of your life. But before we get started, I did want to mention, if you haven't already heard, I'm running a 4-week Dry January program. I'm calling it Coach in Your Pocket, the Dry January edition, because I expect to have other Coach in Your Pocket offerings coming out. But in any case, this is going to be a 4-week program, and it combines, there's going to be a weekly video on a topic, and the topics are, in week 1, managing cravings, when a glass of wine has got your name on it. Oh yes, you're going to learn how to manage a craving in a practical and pragmatic way. Then in week 2, the topic is remind me why I thought Dry January was a good idea. And this is when, life starts to get tough and Dry January starts feeling a bit old, right? You're over the excitement, temptation is all around. So we're going to talk about that. Week 3 will be, oops, I did it again. How to get back on track when you slip off course. It's not about perfection, but about learning. And this is a skill. This is a skill that you will use and will help you as you change your relationship with alcohol. And then in week 4, we're going to talk about digging deep when you are ready to give up, right? I'm going to want to help you get to the finish line, but not in a really, this is dreadful, awful, hard way. There are ways to do this to keep motivation high. So it's going to be a weekly video. There are going to be 2 live group coaching calls where you can come on and ask your questions, or you can get coached either way. And there's going to be a workbook with 31 days of reflection topics and exercises. And you'll get access to the recordings if you're not able to join the live calls. And you know what? I've been having such fun with this that I'm going to throw in a couple of bonuses too. So I will talk about those as we go into January. Now, the reason I'm talking about it on this podcast is right now, until midnight GMT, tonight, 31st of December, this is on pre-sale at £49 sterling. As of the 1st of January, it goes up to £197. So if you want to do this, you need to act now. So you can get 2025 off to a great start. All right, so enough of the advertisement. Oh, and if you want the link for that, you can find it on my Instagram. There will be a link in the show notes, or you can email Anna at 90dayslater.co, and I will happily send you the link too. All right, let's get on with the show. So today I'm talking about finding joy. And as I say, this is going to be super short, because I really want this to pack a punch with you. And this is one of my favorite topics. And it's one of the things that I have found through completely transforming my relationship with alcohol. The level of joy and the type of joy I get in my life is off the scale compared to how I thought it would be. Now, I want to start with, at least it was the way I see this, is that alcohol, it tricks us into thinking that it makes moments special, right? And what happens is when you start to see through that illusion, things change, and it is an illusion. Even though I bet listening to this, you have a lot of evidence as to why alcohol does make these things special, but please stay with me. So if you've ever thought that if you were to take alcohol out of the picture, even if you logically know you want to drink less, but if you take it out of the picture, it starts to make everything feel less exciting or enjoyable, this episode, my friend, is for you. We're going to talk about why that happens and how you can tap into real joy and specialness without the drink. And there's just going to be two very succinct topics. So firstly, I want to talk about why we think alcohol makes things special. I want to set the stage. It's so ingrained because, and a large part of this is through advertising. Yeah, we are sold the idea that a drink makes magic, right? It adds magic to different moments, to celebrations, to fancy dinners, even to a quiet evening at home. Just think about that, right? We're told that this is what will make something feel good. And then what happens is when we drink, it does feel true because the dopamine boost tricks our brain into thinking we're having a better time than we are. But here's the catch. The more we pair alcohol with special moments, or the more we pair alcohol with moments to make them special, the less special those moments feel without it. Think about it. If you've trained your brain to expect a drink to elevate an experience or to augment an experience, taking the drink away can feel like something is missing. I cannot tell you how many times I would sit there and something magical would be happening. I don't know, maybe watching a sunset or looking at some fireworks and thinking a drink would make this better, right? Legit, that's what I used to think. And what the problem is that when your brain starts to treat drinking like this, is treating drinking as a foregone conclusion. If we want to make this special, Anna, we want to have that glass of champagne. It expects the reward, and without it, you feel like you are missing out, even if you are in the most tremendously special situation. You could be at dinner with all of your loving family around you and feel like something was missing because there's no drink on the table. Here's what's really happening. Your primitive lizard brain is in a search. It's search for the drink. Is putting the blinkers on you. I think my American friends, I think you call these blinders. These are those leather things that you put on the side of a horse's eyes. What's happening is your primitive brain's hunt for the alcohol is blocking your ability to fully take in the joy and the beauty of the scene around you that you are already experiencing. When it's just you and your positive emotions minus the dopamine that you get from the wine, all of a sudden you're like, this isn't so good. I don't like this so much. What you've done is you've turned down the volume, just like on a radio. You've turned down the volume on the joy that is accessible to you in that moment, right? To any of the wonder that you might already see. And suddenly, what's happened is those positive emotions have been dampened down. They feel a bit lackluster, right? Because you're so used to experiencing them and then adding dopamine to augment them. So even though they're great, you are used to sort of artificially making it better, right? Now, the skill to learn is how to once again find joy and specialness on your own without the help or any kind of assistance, let's say, from the alcohol. And the good news is that you can do this. You do not need alcohol to make a moment special. You might say, I logically know that, but it is totally possible. But to break the habit of augmenting the experience, you need to understand what's happening underneath, right? This is not about saying, okay, the sunset is great, I'm never going to drink again. Or it's not about forcing yourself to appreciate life without alcohol. I'm sure you've tried that already. It's about realizing how much joy and pleasure you've been missing out on because your brain is fixated on the drink. Think about that. I will repeat that. It's about realizing how much joy and pleasure you've been missing because your brain is fixated on the drink. When you step away from alcohol, at first, moments might feel dull or a bit meh, right? That's because your brain is still looking for that old reward. But here's the truth. You have an untapped reservoir of pleasure inside of you. You can train your brain to notice the small, beautiful details. The taste of a meal, the way someone's laughter, it makes you smile and laugh. One of my sons always makes me giggle. Or the feeling of accomplishment maybe after a long day and there's you rocking and rolling. I did the day. I really gave the day my full worth. You're not just enjoying, you're actually creating pleasure then. You find yourself doing that. And when you do this, something amazing happens. Truly, your desire for alcohol decreases. You stop seeing it as the missing ingredient. So when you learn how to create specialness and joy on your own, the drink loses its power. You can finally see it for what it is. It is just a drink. It is liquid in a glass or liquid in a bottle. It is not the key to happiness. It is not the key to meaning. It is not the key to fun. And when you truly understand that, you are free to make decisions about drinking without all the struggle and without all the second guessing. So that is my final podcast for 2024. I'll be back with you in 2025. But again, I do urge you, if you want to do Dry January and you want this to be more of a permanent step forward rather than just doing Dry January, because that's what you always do, kind of, you willpower your way through. If you want a different approach, join me. You can find the link to my Dry January offer in the show notes, or again, you can email me, anna@90dayslater.co. In the meantime, let me wish you a very happy new year, and I will see you next week, next year. Bye. If you like what you're learning in the podcast and you want to take the work further and achieve total freedom around alcohol, let's talk. I help my clients stop reaching for that first glass of wine the moment 6 p.m. rolls around, and they don't miss out on life. Email me for more information on anna@90dayslater.co. And if you did enjoy the show, I'd really appreciate if you'd leave a rating and review to help others find the 90 Days Later podcast.